Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Disney. Disney declares woke ruined their brands. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Evie, Disney is worried that woke is ruining their brand after consistent flops. The most beloved era of Disney was in the 1990s when all the classics were released that people still know and love today. Also from Evie, the golden era Disney princesses were right about femininity, even though golden era Disney is often criticized for portraying an archaic version of female roles in the world. What really happened to Disney was they decided they would sign up in 2007 with this aggressive woke agenda, the Corporate Equality Index, which pushes what they say is a national benchmarking tool on corporate policies, practices, and benefits pertinent to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer employees. And they would have you think it only relates to employees. It relates to everything the company does. To get a 100% woke score on this list, they give you instructions about what kind of messaging you should be doing to the public, as well as benefits and work situations and conditions for LGBT employees. But since 2007, Disney has had a 100% woke score on this list. 297 companies have lost their perfect score of LGBT values in 2023. Disney is still at 100%, but of the 1,256 companies who had participated in their woke index before, more than half, 710, earned lower scores in 2023. But Disney remains in the top percentile. So as a result, their films and their content's only going to continue to get worse until management changes at the company. Bob Iger is supposed to leave the company in 2026. There are recent rumors and financial publications saying they may try to extend Bob Iger past that point. He can only live for just so long. The problem is they keep pushing this agenda. They keep damaging their brands. Now they've even admitted this is damaging their brands in a public statement to stockholders. The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Lion King, Mulan, and many more told the kind of magical stories that stayed in our hearts, along with the catchy music that could get stuck in our heads for days. This period is often referred to as the Renaissance era. Many suspect that these movies are loved by women everywhere because Disney successfully captured the brilliance and timelessness of femininity. Today, Disney instead is trying to turn boys into women, women into men, and eliminate boys altogether. It's all part of their agenda, and their agenda is something to be concerned about. This is a great documentary called The Century of the Self by Adam Curtis out of the UK. And he talks about how consumerism is something that was decided to be put upon the American people. The whole concept of, oh, I've got to always buy the newest thing, the latest thing. They actually persuaded people to do this. It's a big part still of American culture. Americans were not born to do this sort of thing, and it wasn't completely organic. So the people at Disney feel, hey, we can keep pushing this agenda. It's not like they're doing it on their own. They've got, at a minimum, these hundreds and hundreds of other public companies, politicians, media, elites, college campuses, schools now, all pushing this same agenda. They may not convince everyone, but they will convince millions of people that this dehumanizing anti-human agenda is completely normal. Jasmine was seductive and required her man to work for her. Ariel taught us about sacrifice and trust. Mulan was both brave and family-oriented. All the princesses had their own personalities and opinions, but they each made room for a prince to come and sweep them off their feet. None of these princesses were too proud to reject a man. These traditional Disney films were never political, and the themes were always centered on universal, relatable stories that brought people together rather than driving them apart. However, Disney has certainly lost its way over the last couple of decades. They've lost their touch at producing hit movies that resonate with both young children and adults, and that's a whole other aspect. Disney had figured out how to not only make films that fit the American culture and were popular all over the world, and did not divide people along any kind of political lines, they were even attractive to adults and children. They're incredibly far off the mark now. Now, their recent movie, Wish, there are articles written about it saying, well, is she a princess? Is she a Disney princess? What is she? They don't have a clear answer because they've been trying to eliminate the entire identity of what a Disney princess is. Of course, that's going to affect their brands. They're supposed to be selling Disney princess merchandise, not eliminating Disney princesses. Disney movies have taken a turn for the worse. Turning Red, the Disney Pixar film of 2022 that was acclaimed for its heartwarming narrative and representation, did not achieve high commercial success compared with other Pixar films. With a global box office of only $20 million against a production budget of $175 million, it ranks among the biggest box office bombs of 2022. And keep in mind that number does not include any kind of marketing or promotional budget, which is always in the tens of millions, at the least. The supposed reason for its underperformance is attributed to its simultaneous release on Disney+. This strategy allowed audiences to view the film at home, significantly affecting its worldwide box office. However, it left people wondering if it just wasn't good enough to draw in audiences. There were many parents who expressed their disappointment with the type of inappropriate content in the film being delivered to teenagers for the sake of sending a particular message to the world. The Disney animated movie Strange World also faced a significant box office shortfall, with an estimated loss of $147 million in 2022. A notably woke aspect of the film is the introduction of Disney's first openly LGBT teenage character who discusses his same-sex crush. The film's underperformance is attributed to various factors, including its inclusion of sexuality discussions, which deterred many parents from allowing their children to watch it. Some critics suggest that modern parents, more informed through social media, may choose to avoid content with inappropriate sexual themes for their children. Well, I would hope that parents who are responsible would not let their children be exposed to things that they know for themselves to be inappropriate. Similar issues in the past were observed with Pixar's Lightyear, which included a gay kiss and initially underperformed at the box office. Ultimately, Lightyear was another massive loss for Disney. Chris Evans, a voice actor in Lightyear, criticized those who opposed the movie's inclusive content. However, what he considered inclusive was just seen as annoyingly woke to the general public. Parents have generally never been on board with showing their children progressive content, regardless of the political message companies like Disney are desperately trying to send. Elemental, a Pixar movie, actually defied initial poor box office performance to eventually bring in some dollars, particularly internationally. Released in June, it had the worst box office opening in Pixar history with $29.6 million in domestic ticket sales. However, the film, which cost $200 million to produce, gradually gained momentum, earning nearly $500 million globally. It currently ranks as the 9th top grossing film of the year, surpassing Marvel's AntMan and the Wasp: Quantumania. But this was an anomaly compared to the rest of Disney's flops in the last 2 years. Now, Disney again is experiencing a box office bomb with its Thanksgiving release Wish, the newest princess film that seeks to copy Encanto's success. But due to its poor storytelling, boring songs, and progressive message, it has also flopped. If the main character of Disney's Wish was a princess and they promoted it that way, you can imagine it probably would have done some additional business. But their ambiguity with even defining their own female lead character as a princess just tells you everything you need to know. Disney says it lost some focus. Disney has disclosed that it invested a staggering $965 million in 4 high-profile projects in 2023, which turned out to be significant flops. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, The Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and Secret Invasion. This revelation comes amid a cost-cutting initiative led by CEO Bob Iger, who returned to lead the company in November 2022. Iger emphasized the need to reduce production costs, acknowledging the exorbitant expenses involved in creating their content. In early November, Bob Iger said, "At the time the pandemic hit, we were leaning into a huge increase in how much we were making, and I've always felt that quantity can actually be a negative when it comes to quality." Well, everyone who's ever produced anything, even if you've tried to cook for 10 people instead of cooking for 5 people, yes, it can affect the specific attention and the focus on what you're doing because you're producing more than you're set up to produce. That is no specific insight. He continues, and I think that's exactly what happened. We lost some focus. Typically, the budgets of movies and streaming shows are kept confidential as studios usually lump these costs into their overall expenses without detailing individual project expenditures. However, Disney's production activities in the United Kingdom provide a clearer picture of their spending due to the unique financial reporting requirements in the UK. Studios operating in the UK set up separate companies for each production to get a 25% rebate on their expenditures. That can even include star salaries. It includes whatever is related to the production. So you could actually see people getting on a plane to go pick up a check out of the UK because they need to get that rebate. They want that rebate. These companies are required to file financial statements which reveal detailed spending data, and it's all public in the UK. Forbes does a lot of analysis on that, and we see those every couple of months. There are some interesting articles that come out on that. Disney has been leveraging the UK's incentive payments by filming more content there. This strategy, however, has led to significant investments in some of its most expensive and least successful productions of the year. A notable example is the Marvel Studios superhero film Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Despite spending $193.2 million on pre-production and filming, which, as it says, that's pre-production, does not include post-production, which is very significantly expensive, the movie opened to mediocre reviews. The situation illustrated the challenges Disney faces in managing production costs while striving to create compelling content that resonates with audiences and succeeds financially, which it does seem like they really don't know how to do anymore. Disney acknowledges that going woke hasn't worked out so well for them. Disney is finally acknowledging the significant impact of wokeness and culture wars on its operations. This admission was made in its annual financial report filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. These are reports filed for stockholders for the fiscal year ending September 30th. The report highlights various aspects of Disney's performance and future risks. Disney employs about 225,000 workers worldwide and emphasizes its commitment to creating a more inclusive and diverse workplace. This commitment aligns with its diversity, equity, and inclusion objectives, which focus on reflecting the life experiences of its audience and supporting diverse voices in creative and production teams. Financially, Disney reported revenues of $88.9 billion for fiscal 2023, marking a 7% increase from 2022. Despite its growth, the company has reduced spending on film and TV content, cutting it from $29.8 billion to $27.2 billion. Iger plans to further reduce content spending to $25 billion next year. Along these cuts, Disney has also implemented staff reductions and other expense cuts, achieving about $7.5 billion in cost savings. Disney's involvement in culture wars and public debates has had widespread effects. The company acknowledged risks related to misalignments with public and consumer preferences, which affect demand and profitability across various segments, including broadcast, cable, theaters, internet, mobile technology, theme parks, hotels, resorts, and consumer products, especially consumer products licensing as well. This misalignment has led to challenges in adapting to market changes and economic or social climates. Quote, further, consumers' perceptions of our position on matters of public interest, including our efforts to achieve certain of our environmental and social goals, often differ wildly and present risks to our reputation and brands. Disney finally admitted, acknowledging that consumer preferences impact revenue. They had not admitted to this before. We've never seen them admit it. Disney's leisure business is influenced by multiple factors, including health concerns and the political environment. The company's intervention in the debate over Florida's parental rights in education bill in March had significant repercussions. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis responded by revoking Disney's special district in coordination with state lawmakers, so it was completely legal. It wasn't an executive order. Disney lost the special privilege of managing and controlling its own special district, and that highlighted the cost of Disney's political engagement. The cost of losing the special district is completely incalculable. They won't be able to control development in their own theme parks. They won't be able to do things without permission. They don't know how much money they could invest to develop other areas. It's a complete disruption in how they operate. They're also going to be subject, no doubt, to more taxes and fees. But Disney, which essentially used to have their own little kingdom out there, has lost their kingdom. They even had the right to create their own nuclear power plant there if they wanted to. They've lost it all. They're still fighting it in court, but I can promise you there's very little chance they're going to win. Whether Disney is going to correct its course is yet to be seen. Even with its flops, the brand name remains the most recognizable name in the entertainment industry, and it has committed itself so deeply to the woke liberal cause, it's difficult to imagine they would ever come back from that. In the meantime, their movies will continue to flop if they don't find a way to return to the Renaissance era, or something remotely close to that, and offer audiences heartwarming, relatable stories rather than subtle and not so subtle tales of progressive politics. Disney can't return to the 1990s or set the Marvel Comics brand correct or set Star Wars correct or go back to making great Pixar movies or focus on Disney princesses. They can't do any of those things and maintain a 100% rating on their corporate equality index. Their management may change. They're being challenged by investors now who are well aware what they've been doing and how Bob Iger made a conscious choice to turn the entirety of the company of Disney over to the progressive agenda. The investors may succeed in forcing change and getting Bob Iger out of there. I've been covering it on this channel. I'll continue to cover it on this channel. And most importantly, let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.